It's Thursday, October the 20th. Lake level is just a little over 909, which is about 6 feet below winter pool, dropping every day. They seem to be generating a little bit of water in the afternoons or the last couple days. But the water temperature is really starting to cool down, depends where you're at. Today I put in at Kimberling City and it was about 65 degrees first thing this morning. When I got up into James River a little bit, back up in Ants Creek, it was in the low 60s, 61, 62. But I think for the most part, fishing's still really tough for me. And I think it is pretty much all over, even, looking at the weights of like the recent Toyota tournament. I think 11 pounds was in the top 10 out of 160 boats. But, that's kind of typical fall fishing. I think this cool weather is going to help. It's just going to take a little bit of time. Now, the one good thing about the lake being down this low, it's a good time to actually, cruise around, and you can see a lot of different rock piles, a lot of different structure and stuff that's right, on the bank and on the edge of the water that's normally got, 8 or 10 feet of water. So it's a good time to go out and pull your boat up and hit some waypoints and mark some stuff for when the lake gets back up to normal. And it seems like as productive as some of my fishing is, I'm better off spending time doing that here lately. But, we're able to catch, I think, 5, 6 keepers today, but we really got to work at catching them. I haven't got a shallow bite going at all in the main lake, where the water's clear. Still, most of my bites are out there, 30 to 45 feet, and I'm catching them either on a football jig, some on a Carolina rig, some on a wobblehead, drop shot. I actually caught some today on a jigging spoon, a white spoon, and also a jigging wrap, the Rapala jigging wrap. But I'm really pretty much just junk fishing. But most of the deeper fish for me are coming on main lake, out off long flat gravel points, some on bluff ends. Some of the spoon fish that we caught today were out in the deeper creeks and some bluff ends out of deep timber. Now, I think, with this cool weather, I'm still not finding hardly any bait in the backs unless I'm way up in the river arms. And up there, I do have a pretty good, not pretty good, but I can catch them on a square bill. One day is a lot better than the other, in that 2 to 6 foot range. And it seems like the fish up in the river arms, that for me anyways, they're not really on the wood. They seem to be more on rock transitions, almost like a springtime deal. But they seem to be where bigger chunk rock almost comes to a mud flat. The fish just kind of seem to be roaming out there right off the edge of them mud flats. They don't seem to be locked tight to wood, but they're definitely around, for me anyways, more rock than they are wood. And the water's cooled down pretty good up there. I mean, I was up there the other day, it was like 57 degrees. It was really cold that day. But that water is cooling down up there a lot quicker. I think we should start to see a lot more bait moving around, going shallow. But I don't know, normally this time of year we get a good cool down. The shadows start to migrate back into creeks, and there'll be a good concentration of fish that'll go with them. But last couple of years, we haven't had that very good in the fall. I mean, it doesn't seem like a rock crawler bite, the wigglewort bite, the shallow crankbait, spinnerbait bite hadn't been that good up in, till we get up into December. And then it would seem like it was kind of short-lived. For some reason, a lot of these fish are hanging out there real deep with the shad. I think the key will be, for the shallow bite, if the shad are up in there shallow and stay there for a little bit, we'll have a good shallow bite, in the wintertime. But like I say, if it's anything like the last year or two, come late November, December, a lot of the fish just seem to get out in the center of these creeks. It's almost like they're just roaming with the shad anymore. They don't come back into creeks as much like they used to. But I'm hoping with the cool down, if the bait will get back in there, that'll start to happen. We're catching a few fish around docks on a spoon, but everything is kind of almost like a one and done. When I get on a spot, I catch 1, maybe 2 fish, but then I'll have to hit 3 or 4 more spots, deep spots with either a football jig or a drop shot. And you can see on your electronics a lot more fish than what we're catching. I mean, you'll see them come up, look at the bait, you drop the bait down, they follow it down. But it seems like for every 8 or 10 that come up and follow it, you might get one to bite it. And a lot of times when that happens, you'll get the rest of them fired up. But it seems like whenever we hook one, we can get maybe one other one to bite. Another way I've been catching some fish is, if you'll notice, if you've been out there, there's a lot of bait that's real high in the water column, in that 15, 20 foot range. Seems like if I can find an area where the bait's down there deep, it makes the drop shot and spoon bite a lot better. But there has been some fish, you might be in 60 foot of water and you'll see big groups of shad anywhere from 10 to 20 feet. And I've been taking a big bite, like a little grub head, a 3/8 ounce with a jerk minnow, which is similar to like a little Demiki rig, and I'm able to cast that and work that through the shad. Now, sometimes if it's a big group of shad, you can actually take a spoon, whether it be a flutter spoon or a slab spoon, and do the same thing. I haven't had any success doing that this week. The previous week I did, but it seemed like I had to go to the little Demiki style bait around that shad. And you can actually see some fish underneath that, but the fish really seem to be relating to the shad, other than up in the river arms. I haven't been able to get much of a shallow bite at all on, say the main lake. Even around boat docks where I can normally flip them in that, 10 to 20 foot range, I get very few bites, doing that. There's really a lot of good structure coming out of the water with the lake dropping. So it's kind of neat to see areas where you catch fish in the spring. Kind of gives you a clue, what they're holding on. So, I mean, if you get a chance, a person needs to get out when the lake's real low like this. If nothing else, build some rock piles, set a little bit more brush, but kind of look at the banks that you fish a lot, and it'll give you a little bit more meaning to why the fish are where they are when you catch them. So, till next week, good luck and good fishing.